let's talk about hangovers. About hangovers. First things first, little bit of housekeeping. I said on my last channel, because I got strikes coming at me, I have got a second channel. Now I use it to dump my songs, and I use dump deliberately. But I'll put a link in the description. If you like this channel, just sub it. Just sub that one, just in case. Because if this goes, I'll be over there. Also, tomorrow, I mean, this isn't helpful if you're watching this well down the line, but tomorrow, Three Stooges, me, Hugh on The Offensive, and Dan the Iconoclast on Dan's channel, 3 o'clock UK time. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. So I let this city swallow me and spit me out last night, and there's very few places I have visited. I mean, I've been to Caracas, I've done the Dam, I've rode penny farthings down Montparnasse in Paris, and I've lived in Soho for over a decade. But Phnom Penh, not a place to be out of control. Not a place to be snorting crushed Xanax out of the palm of a prostitute's hand in a backstreet lady bar at 2 a.m. You know what? The thing with your hangover. Now, I studied Freud. I lectured Freud. Cool, that was a disaster. I was so high that I used to study at the college. They got me back to lecture it, and the director of studies, lovely woman who cut me some slack, give me a break, my first lecturing job. And in those days, and this is going back to like late 90s, £25 an hour for standing up and going, Sigmund Freud, a fascinating story of the undercurrent of the divided self. But of course, she sat me down, she said, listen, she said, we were very impressed with the essays you sent, because I had to send them some work, some of my writings on psychoanalysis. And she said, but just what I want to say is, no, she went, no drugs with students. Which is very different from no drugs. No drugs with students. And of course, it was lots of drugs with lots of students. I mean, for me and a couple of mates getting caught coming out of a toilet together, like, and my students just there, like, all right, don't say anything, we'll be all right. Oh, God. And of course, you get these sort of 18-year-old girls. I mean, I was, 26 maybe? You get these 18-year-old girls, and they just love you. And that's not because it was me. I had a part to play in it, but that your tutor, your mentor. And I remember this girl gave me a lift down the drive, and I just introduced them to Sigmund Freud's seminal work, The Interpretation of Dreams, published 1905, which kind of changed so much. It put the new psychoanalytic revolution into context, into a field everyone could, if not understand, certainly identify with and be attracted to, because it was something we all do. We dream. We have these encrypted, coded, sort of analogous, allegorical tales going on. And the idea that we might be able to shed some light on meaning was very attractive. I mean, it doesn't disgust me so much, but I'm always repelled when people talk about dream interpretation and they have their books and they go, oh, hang on, did you just say you had a walking stick? Page 126. Oh, a walking stick would suggest that you love your father too much. It doesn't work like that. Nothing in a dream means anything. You can't hear me out on this. You can't say this means that or this means, you can't have a dictionary of what things in dreams mean. There are some common symbols which, because we have a shared culture, can indicate perhaps some kind of set, fixed relationship. But on the whole, you're looking at the context of that person. For instance, if you had a dream and it had this hat in it, you've watched me wear this hat, whereas I wear it. So this hat means so much different to me as it does to you. That's enough of an example you need. A lot of people dream that their teeth are coming out. I had that all through my 20s. I'd sort of just be just nothing else going on in the dream, and I'd sort of just grind my teeth a little bit, and they'd just sort of sort of come out, and I'd always remember, like, in the dream, just going, oh. Just, oh. And waking up, and my tongue just go, oh, thank fuck for that. But, you know, if you're someone who's had a lot of dental work, or if you're a dentist, you see what I'm saying? That's going to have a different relationship to you. So you can't go through it like that. However, what a surprise I'm going off course. I remember this girl gave me a lift down the drive. Beautiful little English rose she was too, and we just had this 2-hour session where I was teaching him about the interpretation of dreams, and we're driving down the drive, and she went, "It's funny that we done about dreams today, Mr. Dangerfield." And I was like, really? Trying not to look at her beautiful knees as her skirt rode up while she was driving this kind of weird big truck. A bit of a hippie she was. Yogurt weavers, not really my type, but you know. And she went, "It's funny that we done dreams because I had a dream about you." Oh, and I was just like, you know, well, she said no drugs with students, didn't say anything about banging them. So, you know, I had a look around. Why the fuck am I telling you that? So hungover. What was the... Am I going to... Look. So... the reason I was telling you that is coming back slowly. I mean, this is a fantastic video because not only am I describing information or not only am I describing hangovers, but I'm displaying it as well. You see, it's a two-pronged educational attack. Oh yes, spiking the very brazen and bare arse of the ill-informed and ignorant on this subject. My point being, the physical agony, the deep, profound physical hell of a hangover, as far as I'm concerned, is a hell of a lot of psychosomatic conversion. Psycho, brain, soma, body. Psychosomatic, brain, body, brain to body. The idea that you can get physically sick from your ideas, from your thoughts, from your understandings. And so when you wake up and I mean, there's obviously a deep poisoning, an actual physical poisoning. You know, alcohol's poison. But on top of that, I think the nightmare of the reality of what you got up to, and I'll come back to that, is converted into its physical form because you have no information. And when I say what you got up to, I'm talking about the blackouts. I'm talking about the lack of control. I'm talking about the 3 hours you missed. I'm talking about, hang on a minute, I had my hand up her skirt. She was sucking my finger. You know, all that stuff that sort of comes back and it's too much to bear. It's very hard. It's very unsettling to know you were active in the world. You were out there alive, making choices and decisions, and yet you were unaware of them. Parts of your brain had been shut down. It's terrifying. And I think that is psychosomatically converted into an even more profound physical hell of the hangover. And that would be my first point, really. It's a physical and mental and emotional torment, but I do think there's a fair amount of conversion into that physicality. I mean, I've been moping around all day. It's like near midnight now, but I got that death trap of a motorbike taken back today, and dealing with that, the bloke's where he was trying to show me there was nothing wrong with it, trying to convince me to keep it, and the petrol, I put 5 litres of fucking juice in it the other day, and it's leaking. I mean, it's only a bit of tube or something, but so all the exterior tile flooring that they love so much out here is just covered in petrol. Okay, so while all that's going on, and then suddenly I had something amazing happen. This bird I got on the go FaceTimed me. What we tend to do, she's a youngster, she'll FaceTime me and just have it on. I imagine it's what the kids, the youth do these days. She'll just have it on as she's getting about her day. So I put the phone next to my monitor while I'm working, and occasionally I can just look at her and it's like a living photograph. And occasionally there's a little giggle. I mean, it's lovers stuff, it's kind of gross. And so she was chatting to me, and she was walking around and, you know, going to work, and I see her walking through all these dark and dingy Phnom Penh alleyways, you know, little precious angel. And I was thinking, fucking hell, man, this is, you know. And I'm watching and I get a little knock at my door and no one really visits me here except for the people downstairs. So I've just gone, oi, darling, hang on. And I've gone to the door and it was, oh, and honestly, suddenly nothing wrong with me. Immediately fine. As soon as my emotional, mental life had been, basically had a shot in the arm, I didn't even know I had. I was dancing. Hey, oh, baby, it's a wide world. Didn't sing that. Yeah, I have to get by. You know Aswad sung that, didn't they? They followed my girlfriend around the country one year. That's another story. So yeah, suddenly I was all right. Now, are you telling me my love interest arriving had removed the remaining alcohol from my system, had made me physically better? No. She'd reversed the psychosomatic conversion. It was soma-psychic. But what dark things have we done? And again, that crushing reality in the morning when you wake up, you're like, and your mouth's like a lesbian fanny, and you're like, hey. Oh, and it comes at you in waves. Oh, in tsunamis. Oh, no. And then the texting I'd done to my ex-girlfriend as well. It's so nice to talk to you. You'll always have a place in my heart. Not untrue, but gushing and drunk. You know, when I've heard stories of the children of alcoholics in rehab centres, you know, I've been in them. And these people sort of talking when they were young and they were around their father. He was an alcoholic, and they said they just knew. You know, even at 3 or 4 years old, they knew when he was drunk, because it's this gushing, over the top, filterless kind of ugly, over the top blanketing of reality. And so you're there, and it's doof, doof, doof. I mean, some of the hangovers I've had. New Year's Eve. I think I've talked about this before. New Year's Eve. My brother hadn't been in England. He lives in Japan. Hadn't been in the UK for about 10 years. And he'd come back. First time me, my mum and my brother had a Christmas together in about a decade and a half. Oh, it was going to be lovely. Now, me and my brother have got issues. I think it's safe to say we've got issues. I know he watches the occasional video. Remember this night, bruv? Oh. Anyway, something happened. Some idiot decided to get out a photograph of my father when I was about a bottle of gin down, a bit of crack and a bit of heroin, a bit of New Year's Eve opiate relief. And then it got funny. And then I can't remember. My brother said something to me. Let's not forget, your parents and your siblings, they know how to press your buttons because they fucking installed them. And next thing I know, I'm walking through a party at the top of my road. Everyone, all my mum's friends are there, the street's there. Oh, everyone else is having a lovely time, not me. I'm marching. I can see my brother running. And I'm going, you fucking wanker. I'm going to fucking kill. Not pleasant, not nice, ugly, bitter, violent, drugged up idiot. And that, I pretty much marched behind him until I couldn't find him. And then I just sort of went home thinking, oh, well, that was a bit weird. And I'm at home. And the next thing I know, it's the next morning. And I'm like, and it just consumed me physically. Immediately, physically, I was just, oh, God, what? And I was sick. You'd be interested, you should look into sick, into vomit. I mean, it's very interesting according to Freud. And if you look at Bakhtin's History of Laughter, where in the medieval festival tradition, where the government and the church was ridiculed for weeks on end, laughter and vomit were key features of this. You know, this sort of rejection of life and this rejection of growth and nutrition. And as soon as I remembered, and it wasn't threatening to kill my brother, it wasn't what he said, which I'll come on to that actually. It wasn't what he said. It wasn't all that. What done it was this memory of getting back home, just on the floor. This bloke who just made a complete cunt of himself, ruined Christmas, ruined New Year, my poor mother. And she just come in that door and she screamed at me like she'd never done before. I wasn't a child, I was 30 years old. And she was just, I've had enough of you, the drugs, your behaviour, you're a little bastard. And I just looked at her, I felt about 2 years old. Oh, the shame and the guilt, because I was guilty. And then there was more, and it just kept piling on to my hangover. And then the psychosoma just kept going. As the day progressed, I was getting weaker and weaker, because it was my mum's birthday on the 3rd of January. Or is it the 2nd? 4th. And my brother had arranged a surprise birthday party for her, but that was off now. Why? Because my brother didn't stay in that town. My brother had gone. They found him curled up in a ball in the churchyard. God knows what would have happened if I'd have found him. So that hit me. And I was so physically ill, and the darkness of that part of me I don't ever want to be let out. I don't ever want to light that fuse. I don't want that. It's in us all. And then halfway through that day, when we all ended up back together, and I apologised to him, I said, look, I am so sorry. And he said to me, I'm sorry for what I said to you. Because I couldn't remember that. I just thought I was a complete arsehole. It turned out I was a partial arsehole. I was a half bum. Apparently he said something. Apparently he knew he was lighting my fuse. Now, that doesn't get me off the hook, but again, there was a relief. There was a physical relief. Hangovers. And it's funny, when you're a teenager, man, can you just keep going. There were times at my art colleges where I was doing 7, 8, 9 pints of Guinness a night. Wake up, that didn't even count as a hangover. Sometimes I'd go out with a bottle of whiskey in the side pocket of my army trousers. My M1 lightweights American regulation issue, and I'd just be knocking back scotch. Yeah, it was all right the next day. Not great, but you know. The dark things we can do. And as you get older, it's incredible. It kind of happens quickly. I mean, I think again, we used to go down to Glastonbury. We used to sell drugs down there, me and all my mates. You know, ecstasy, speed. The last time I went, I took 3 grams worth of fake tenors down there, and I was just buying any drugs that were on offer just to get the drugs for the fake tens, and then sell on the drugs. Oh, nice, nice Glastonbury attitude. Hello, dealer. Here's a fake tenor. I'll take that. One year, I'd done so much good trade with those fake tenors, I left Glastonbury with more drugs than I arrived with. But, you know, you're looking at getting down there on Thursday morning, having a bottle of vodka and some sulphate for breakfast. Drinking, that's not even considered a drug by this point. You're just constantly knocking alcohol down. Constantly smoking weed. That ain't a drug. Weed ain't a drug. It's a joint, for fuck's sake. And then the acid, then the ketamine, then the cocaine, the crack, the heroin, the DMT. Keep them coming, son. Wake up after that lot. Not that bad. Get a bit older. Oh, listen to this. When I was at that art college, it was my mate's birthday. And one of the girls, she said, we're going to get him a stripper. And I was thinking, oh, all right, always happy for a woman to take her clothes off in my close proximity. But not in the pub, not in the bar. She arranged it for round his house. Well, they all shared a house, a few of them. So there was only about 6 of us there. Me, him, another mate, and a couple of girls and another mate. Yeah, 5 or 6 of us in a tiny little front room. And the tension is horrific because we're smoking weed. Wrong drug. Weed is the wrong drug to have a stripper arrive. And of course, because we all knew it was coming, everyone was like looking at their clock, their watches and looking at the clock, except for the geezer whose birthday it was, who could just sense something. Everyone was just caning, quick, get the bong out. Let's roast another bowl. And then there's a knock at the door, and I tell you, I was just thinking, no, please don't let this happen. And as soon as she's gone out to get the door, and the geezer whose birthday it is has just looked at me, and I've just gone... And of course, the show starts. As soon as the door is opened, bam, 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 bam. What the fuck? Boo, 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 boo. Just this music playing. This geezer walks in with a ghetto blaster. And it's just playing some funky music. And he walked in, he went, it had a light on top of the stereo. It was like an audio torch, a huge audio torch. And he come and he went, drug squad. We were like, ha, 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 wicked joke. And then this, oh my days, this beautiful, curvaceous, couldn't have been older than 22, brunette, dressed as a maid. A PVC maid. I'm fucking 21 years old. I mean, my penis is harder than it's ever soft. It's just a joke. All I think about is sex, and she's there. But it's horrific. And so the music's playing. She said to him, get up. He's sort of stoned out of his head. And she's there going, bam, 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 like sneakers. He's recording it, the geezer, because of course you get your VHS cassette afterwards of the time the stripper came to your birthday, and we watched that tape back a few times. And what the dominant theme is the false, exaggerated, and yet excessively necessary laughter. I'm there going ah ha 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 ha, and then my mate Stuart's going hee 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 hee. It's agony. And she put, this is what I remember, because she got these. I remember she put it into his mouth and he went, tried to eat the whole thing. And she was like, no, steady. Got him to bite it in half. And then, because it's got the gooey bit, she stuck them on her nipples. All of that. And she's got these gorgeous, curvy, pert titties. And he's sucking off the marshmallow. To be honest with you, excuse me, oh, cheesy. To be honest with you, he far from made the most of it. I mean, you know, situation understood. But, if I was given free rein, I would have achieved milk. I'd have slipped a wedding ring on her finger while I was at it. And then, after a bit more humiliation, which was meant to be funny, but was just humiliating, she went, all right then, love. She went, go on then, pick me up for the final shot. All right, pick me up. She meant here. She meant here, like I got a sexy bird in my arm. He put her over his shoulder. She went, oh, as his shoulder's gone into her belly. Oh. Hideous. Imagine being her and that boss. I bet they left there and went, students. Ooh, that was horrible, wasn't it? She probably went, yeah, you got my £25, John. Fucking idiots, man. So I've had a hangover all day. And I've got very little else to say about it. I'm sure I had something to say. This is why I need my streaming. For such rambles. I'll be interested if you've got any particularly grotty hangover stories. Yeah.
Thanks for watching.